Hey guys, so today's video is super duper exciting and really special for me because today I am going to do a first-ish impression, and I'll explain why it's ish in a minute, of the Makeup Revolution Emily Noel palette called the Emily Edit, and I got the Wants palette. So this palette retails for $20 and it has 24 shades in it, a mix of matte and shimmer metallic, you know, same thing. And it has a huge mirror, super huge. It has like this kind of nice peachy tone on the outside, and then I love the rose gold lettering. I think the package design is really pretty. I will note though that the only thing I'm a little bit about on the packaging is I feel like my mirror could pop out at like any second. It came with a little crack right there in it, but I feel like it could pop out at any second, and I don't know if I just got like a poorly constructed palette or what, but otherwise the colors look so pretty. I'm so excited to play with this again. So the reason that it's a first-ish impression is because I actually filmed this video once already yesterday, and I kind of went back and looked at the footage, and it was way too dark. You like could barely see what I was doing. I was just really unhappy with the quality, so I'm refilming it today. And I know it's not quite my first impression, but I thought it would be kind of beneficial because I'm going to try to use all different shades than what I used yesterday, so I can try more of this palette and kind of give you my first kind of thoughts on it. So before I kind of jump in and apply this palette to my eyeballs, I want to talk a little bit about Emily Noel AB3. She is someone who I have watched for, oh geez, probably 5 or 6 years, I think. I started watching her a really long time ago. She was one of the first YouTubers I ever watched. She's so kind and so like just genuine. You really like I feel like if I met her in person, she would be no different than what she was like on camera. And I'm over the moon for her about this collab, and she created such a beautiful palette. So if you guys want to see me apply this to my eyes, just keep watching. Alright guys, so I scooched myself in a little bit closer so we can focus on the eyeballs. And I'm going to start with priming my eyes. I prime my eyes every single time I do eyeshadow. I just feel like if I don't do that when I'm testing out a product for the first time, I'm really not giving it a fair shot. So I'm starting with the Essence I Heart Color Intensifying Eye Primer. And per usual, just gonna spread this all over my lids. I like this primer because it has a little bit of a tint to that, and I struggle with some just discoloration on my eyelids. So I really like that this kind of helps cancel it out, gives me a really nice even base to start applying eyeshadow with. Now, I know I just did a video very recently about why you shouldn't be setting your eyeshadow primer, but I feel like now, since it's kind of the height of summer and where I live it's super hot, I have to set my eyelids just a little bit because mine are very oily. So I'm just going to set them very lightly, and I'm just going to take this matte cream shade, more of a white, and just a fluffy brush because we're not setting this very heavily. Just going to tap my brush in there a little bit and just kind of lightly press this all over the lid and up into my crease. I didn't really get a lot of kickback when I stuck my brush into that shade, which is kind of nice. That doesn't really bother me either way, but I feel like sometimes when there's a ton of kickback coming off a palette, you're losing a lot of the product that you paid for. So I'm honestly kind of thinking that I want to do one eye with like one eye look and one eye with another eye look, just so I can try even more colors out for you guys. So should I do that? I think I'm gonna do that just for fun. I mean, this video is just for fun. I just want to show you how these apply to the eyes and kind of give the best first impression that I can, and I feel like trying more shadows will do that. Yesterday I created kind of a look with these colors right here, like this really nice peach and the kind of raspberry and then the dark red, and those colors just, they're just my colors. So I feel like I should try to stay away from them, but we'll see. Maybe I'll incorporate them onto one eye. Okay, so I feel like I kind of want to play with the greens. The greens right here, and then there's also a really nice matte green right there. I'm kind of feeling like a green halo eye. I think that would be really pretty. So I think to kind of start building our crease, I want to jump into the shade Hobby right here. This is kind of a cool toned matte brown, and I think this is a great shade for kind of just setting up a look if you don't know where you're gonna go with it. I'm sorry, my brushes are a little bit dirty. It's been kind of a crazy week around here. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but my background did change. I actually moved into my own apartment, which is super exciting. I feel like I'm gonna have some more opportunities to film because I'll have a quieter setting, kind of. So yeah, so I'm just working this in my inner corner, outer corner, and kind of through my crease, and this is blending really nicely, you guys. It went on really nice. I feel like it kind of came off on my eye a little bit lighter than it is in the pan, but I have no complaints about the formula. I feel like the color is there, the pigment is definitely there. I just feel like it looks maybe a touch darker in the pan. So I'm gonna just build that up a little bit more. So next I'm gonna hop into the shade Corduroy. It's this nice, like, really deep teal. I love this color so much. There's a shade like this in the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I love it so much. I'm just gonna take it on this little domed shadow brush. It comes to kind of a point, which I really like because I want to focus this color more kind of low in my crease. I'm going to start by packing this on the outer corner. Look at that pigment. That is very pigmented. And I'm not really blending this into my crease. I'm kind of just working in little circles kind of on my outer corner just up to my crease. I like to start, when I do halo eyes, applying colors in the inner corner and the outer corner with a fluffier brush because I feel like it gets a really nice blend, and then I go in with more of like a packing brush to really get that intensity, because it's so much harder to pack on a shade and then blend it out than it is to just kind of lightly apply a shade first and then go in and add the color. Okay, so this brush is dirty. Don't judge me. I cleaned it off with my color switch thing, so no color is going to come off, but I'm just going to take my Step 1 for the money brush from the Vintage Cosmetics company. I got this set in a BoxyCharm and I use it all the freaking time. It's such an amazing brush set. I'm pretty much just going to do exactly what we did before, but I'm going to focus more on packing that color on than kind of just diffusing it. That is so pretty. I love that it's like a hunter green. This palette is going to be so beautiful for fall. I mean, it can absolutely be made to work in any season, but like just the warm tones and like the orangey tones and kind of the red tones and then this green, I just feel like screams fall. So now I'm going to go back in with that original blending brush, just my M433 that we had the shade Hobby on, and with no additional product, I'm just going to run this lightly through my crease to kind of diffuse those green edges just a bit more. So now that we have that, I think I do want to do a halo eye. So I'm going to cut out that kind of inner portion of my lid. So I need some concealer. I gotta go grab that real quick. So to do that, I'm just going to use the ColourPop No Filter Concealer, and I'm just going to use this concealer brush. I believe this is from Benefit. I've had it for forever. And I just like to place a little bit of concealer on the back of my hand. And then I kind of just coat my brush. I usually just coat one side of my brush. I guess you could do both sides, but I just kind of coat the one side of my brush, and I really make sure that the kind of rounded tip of the brush is coated. I learned this trick from Raw Beauty Christy, and I'm just kind of going to use the rounded tip to create that halo eye shape, so I'm not like starting from scratch with that. I'm just going a little bit above my crease. I kind of start right in my crease with the concealer, and then I work my way up. And then I'm just kind of patting concealer on my lid where I want that halo to be. I tend to go a little bit wider than I want it to actually be. And then I'm just going to tap on the edges. I do it a little bit wider because then I go in with that green shade to kind of blend the two together a little bit more. But I don't want to lose that like lid intensity that we have. I feel like my halo eye is a little bit crooked. Oh. Alright, so now that we have that lid totally covered in concealer where we want it to be, I want to go in with kind of the shade that's going to be the star of the show, and that is the shade Grateful right here. It's just this nice kind of light green shade. It reminds me of leaves for some reason. And I'm just going to load that up on a ColourPop small shader brush, and I am going to tap off the excess a little bit, and then I'm just going to press this onto the center of the lid. Oh, that's such like a fresh like spring green. A really pretty shade, and that is building up really nicely with the brush. Alright, so I'm feeling like I want just a little bit more dimension to this look, so I'm going to take the shade Oh Heavens, and I'm just going to take this on my ring finger, just the very center, and I'm just going to tap this on the very, very center of my eye. And just like that, just kind of to add another layer of dimension. So the lightest part is in the center of my eye. It just kind of makes my eyes stand out a little bit more. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Dark and Early, which I love the name of the shade so much. Emily always shoots her videos super early in the morning before her kids get up, and she always says she's shooting Dark and Early, so I just love this color, and this is a really, really nice black. So I'm just going to take this shade, and I'm going to take a little flat definer brush. This is mine's from Luxie, and I'm just going to kind of softly line my upper lash line. I don't really want anything too harsh for liner, just something to softly define the eyes. I really don't have any fallout from these shadows. I have been tapping my brush off, but I wasn't doing it yesterday when I originally filmed this video, and I didn't experience any fallout then either. That same little accent brush, I'm going to dip into Oh Heavens, and I'm just going to pop this on my inner corner. I do wish that this highlight was a teeny bit brighter, just because I feel like on my skin tone it doesn't give like that ba-bam impact that sometimes I really like in an inner corner highlight. I'm just going to dip into that shade once again for my brow bone highlight, but it is a beautiful brow bone highlight. I don't like my brow bone highlights to be like super intense, super crazy, but I feel like this just gives a nice sheen to the brow bone if you use it kind of light-handedly. So guys, I'm gonna hop off camera, apply some mascara, and that will be the end of look number 1. So here's the look, a closer look at look number 1. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. I really like the greens. It's kind of different for me. I don't usually play with the green, but I'm really happy with how this one came out. So I know you guys probably are like sighing internally, but for the other eye, I really just want to do something like really warm and red and just fall appropriate. It's like 90 degrees today where I live, but I'm just craving fall. I love fall. Fall's like my favorite season. I love sweaters, I love boots, I love fall makeup. It's cozy. I love it. So I think let's do that I think that's what I want to do for the second look. So I think I'm going to start out with a little bit of this shade, which is called Midwest. It cracks me up, but this is called Midwest because I'm actually from the Midwest too. And she's right. In her video, she was saying that there are a lot of palettes named after LA, there's a lot of palettes named after New York, but there aren't any palettes named after the Midwest. So it makes me laugh that she decided to include this as one of the names, as one of the shades. And I'm just kind of building this up into my crease. I think I'm going to do kind of a half cut crease with this look, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to completely carve it out with concealer or if I'm just kind of going to do it softly. I haven't quite decided yet. But for now, we're just kind of building the base of this look, as I do in pretty much every look that I do. I'm not really blending this too much into the inner corner. I'm just kind of trying to blend it through my crease and diffuse it. These shadows blend so nicely. I mean, I don't think I've had another Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palette. I have their setting spray. I think I've had a highlighter from them. I have their concealer, but I think that might be all that I've tried from them. I really want to try the what's it called? It's like the Velvet something, the one that's a dupe for the Soft Glam palette. I really want to try that one from them, but I haven't tried much else from the brand. And then next, I think I'm going to take the shade Dues Paid and just kind of do the same thing. I really just kind of want to build the depth of this look, and I took both those shades on an M433. I'm sorry, that's my blending brush, M455. M433 is the brush I'm using right now. I feel like Jaclyn Hill uses this technique a lot, where she just kind of keeps building and building and building, like very similar warm browns, and her look just ends up being so beautiful. So it's kind of where I'm drawing inspiration from right now. I just love how rich and warm that shade is. Warm tones, I feel like I'm starting to branch more into color, but warm tones are still like my jam. Like when I'm in a makeup rut and I just feel like I cannot do my makeup well, or I'm having issues with eyeshadow or whatever, I go back to warm tones, and those are like my makeup sweatpants. Like, I know how to do them, I feel good in them, they're just good. I feel like that would be an interesting video to do, like my makeup sweatpants. Does that make sense? Or like my makeup comfort zone box, something like that. I don't know. There's a video idea on there somewhere, I just have to find it. And then next, I think I'm going to take the shade Cheer down here, which is just this kind of nice, deep reddish shade. I love shades like this. I love them so much. And I think I'm going to switch brushes. I want something a little bit more, a little less fluffy actually. And I'm just going to take a little pointed blending brush like this. Focus this primarily in my outer corner and really low in my crease. See, I like how this brush is pointed a little bit because I can get right into my crease because I do have kind of a hooded eyelid, and when my eyes go down like this, like, I can't even get to part of my crease to kind of blend shadows in there. Wow, this is gorgeous. So pretty. And then I think for the last shade that I'm going to kind of build up in the outer corner, I'm just going to take, oh no, let's take this shade. I'm going to take the shade Pi Fi, I believe that's how you say it, and I'm just going to take, I feel like I'm constantly dropping things when filming. Like, I'm a clumsy person to begin with, but once I turn the camera on, like, it's amplified by 10. But I'm just going to take that on an e.l.f. detailed crease brush. Yes, this is the same one that I used before. Don't worry, I cleaned it. And I'm just going to focus this in my outer corner and that outer portion of my crease. So kind of my outer V. Not bringing the shade up a whole lot really, just focusing it deep in the outer corner and my outer crease. This little brush is so amazing. I feel like that's all I talk about when I use it. And then I'm just going to take that blending brush one more time that we used in the beginning, the M433, and I'm just going to take a bit of Midwest because I feel like the outer corner needs a little bit of blending, and I'm just going to do little circular motions. Ooh, this is turning smoky real fast. Oh, it's okay. I feel like that happens to me all the time. Like, I have full intentions of doing something kind of natural, kind of dumbed down, and then I sit down, especially when I have like a lot of time to do my makeup, and next thing I know, I have like a bright smoky eye on. And I just blended the edges of that with a bare fluffy brush. So I do think I am going to half cut my crease, and to do that I'm just going to take my ColourPop No Filter Concealer and this Benefit Concealer brush that I have that I used like 20 minutes ago, and I'm just going to load up the brush. I'm just going to start placing this on my lid. I really don't like to go like above my crease when I do this. I try to be really precise, especially in my inner corner because that's the area where my lid tends to like cover itself almost, and it's very easy for it to get very messy very quickly. So I think I'm just going to take it about halfway across my lid with the brush, and then I'm just going to take my ring finger and kind of blend out the edges just to get kind of a nice blend before we even put eyeshadow on top. Sometimes I like to tap over all of where I put the concealer because it just kind of stops it from moving around too much, and it helps it really grab the shadow once it's kind of locked into place. So I think I'm going to start with the shade Top Story. Top Story right here. It's just this beautiful, beautiful gold shade. It's kind of a bronzy gold, which I really, really love. I'm sorry, I'm looking for a brush, that's why I'm looking over here. And I'm just going to take my ColourPop small shader brush and load it up on there. Top Story was actually a shade that really caught my eye when I saw the palette. I'm not quite sure why because it's kind of just gold, it's a bronzy gold, but there was just something about it. Oh, it's pretty. Something about it that just caught my attention. This is such a beautiful shade. Wowza. That is dry. That is no Fix Plus or any kind of setting spray. So I think I'm going to take that about halfway across my lid. Wow. I think I might go in with some Fix Plus once I put this other shade on. Just kind of add some oomph to that shade. Not that it really needs it, but I'm just feeling a little over the top today. Glam. So, and then next I think I'm going to take the shade Good Vibes, which is this beautiful like coppery shade on the same brush. I'm just going to load up and put that right next to the gold. This is just kind of going to help it blend into that purpley shade Pi Fi a little bit nicer, I think. I hope. Wow, that one is super foiled too. I'm just, where these two meet, I'm kind of just swiping, turning my brush on its side and just swiping, trying to get them to blend a little bit. And I'm not putting any like metallic shadow on the outer edge of my eye because I do want to keep that purple there. I want to keep it strong. I want to keep that contrast there. Doesn't this look like a fall day? I love when the trees turn colors. It's so pretty. I go to school on a very like wooded campus, and it is just so beautiful for those couple weeks that like the leaves start to change and they start to fall, but then it turns to winter and it's much less pretty. But I mean, you win some, you lose some. So next I'm going to go in with the shade Pi Phi once again, and I'm just going to take that e.l.f. Detailed Crease Brush, and I'm just going to kind of load up product on the side of my brush, tap off any excess that I may have, and then I'm just going to tap this on my outer corner, kind of bouncing between where we already placed that purple and then over that like copper shade, because we want this to blend a little bit nicer than it's blending right now. I feel like it looks a little bit abrupt. I'm going to start going in kind of really small circular motions. I feel like that's a much better blend, and so now I'm just going to take that M433 once again, kind of just buff along the outer corner. I did add a bit more of that purple shade right there. This is pretty. I'm into this look a lot. And now I'm just going to finish it off with a little bit of dark liner, and I'm going to take Dark and Early once again, but this time I think I want it to be a little more intense, not quite as soft and smoky as we did it last time. So I'm just going to dip into Dark and Early on a flat definer brush, and then I'm actually going to take a little bit of some setting spray. I don't know if many people do this, but I do this all the time. You can make matte shadows more intense with setting spray as well, not just shimmer shades. I'm still keeping this pretty close to my lash line, but I just want it to be a little more impactful than it was on the other. I feel like this one's a bit softer, a bit smokier. This one I want to be more crisp, but not quite as crisp as like a liquid liner would be. So now that we have our eyes lined, it's time to go back onto the lower lash line. You guys already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to dip back into this shade, which is called Midwest, and I'm just going to take a flat shader brush and just run it along my lower lash line, building up some depth to add kind of a transition shade for the rest of the colors that we're going to put up down there. I'm going to dip into the shade Dues Paid, and then I'm also going to dip into Cheer. Now I'm going to use the same brush, but I'm going to be much more precise with this. I'm going to keep it pretty much just on the tip of the brush and kind of try to get it closer to my lash line. I am trying to connect it a little bit up to the rest of our eyeshadow. Wowza, this is so pretty. I'm so excited for fall. And then I think I'm going to take just this itty bitty pencil brush from my Morphe Copper Dream set, and I'm going to dip into that deep plum shade called Pi Phi just on the tip of my brush, and this is going to go in my outer corner of my lower lash line. I feel like that looks a little bit stark, so we're going to go with that flat shader brush that we used before just to kind of buff it out a bit. So once again, we need a highlight shade for our inner corner, and I feel like the only highlight shade other than cream, the only like shimmery highlight shade in here is Oh Heavens. So actually I'm going to mix that with the cream. So mix the cream and Oh Heavens. And this is just going to give us a really bright inner corner highlight. Oh yeah, that's better. And that just kind of brightens up and opens up the eyes, and I'm going to dip back into Oh Heavens with a flat shader brush and just kind of lightly apply that to my brow bone. Oh, that's so pretty. So I'm going to hop off camera once again, apply some mascara, and I'll put on a lip color, and then I will share with you my final thoughts on this palette. So mascara is on. I put on a nude lip because I wasn't really sure what else to pair with one super warm eye, one more cool toned eye, so I just used the shade Terra and the Jouer Matte Lip Creams. So here's a close-up of both looks. I have to say, this one is definitely my favorite, but I'm a warm tone gal. I kind of knew that would happen, but so let's kind of talk about the palette as a whole. So you guys, I feel like I may be a little bit biased because I was pretty sure I was gonna love this palette no matter what because Emily Noel 83 created it, but this is such a nice palette. These shadows are beautiful. They are amazing quality. The color selection is fantastic. I feel like this is a very unique, a very diverse palette, one that you could create a lot of different looks with, and it's only 20 bucks. You get 24 shades for 20 bucks. How amazing is that deal? And I also realized that I didn't show you guys swatches in the intro, so I'm going to insert some swatches right now so you can see what those look like. Alright guys, so here's some swatches. I apologize because this is kind of some weird lighting. It's just what I'm working with right now because I use natural lighting. So these are the first 2 rows, and we're going to start with the Cream, Hobby, Prayer, Grateful, Good Vibes, Side Hustle, and then starting on the second row with this shade, which is Midwest, Dues Paid, Eve Rose, Belle Violet, Capricorn, and Pi Phi. So here are the second 2 rows. This first shade is Oh Heavens. This beautiful like magenta shade is Love Tons. This shade is Pizzazz, which I'm obsessed with too. This shade is Family, Top Story, Apartment, and then starting with Cupcake, we are on the second row. Laugh Cry, Cheer, Heartbeat, Corduroy, and Dark and Early. Final thoughts on this palette. Based off my first impression, I would go ahead and get this. I would run to Ulta and get this. You can get it for $3.50 off. You can use your coupon. I believe when I'm filming this video, Makeup Revolution is 30% off, which makes this even cheaper, which is crazy. And yeah, I'm like so over the moon happy for Emily about this palette. I think she did such an amazing job, and I think you guys would not regret it one bit if you purchase this palette. So thank you so much for watching. Please just give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you enjoyed it and want to see more videos from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.